Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my senior seminar group is going to be talking about Chapman Radio and how we can increase listenership. Today on the team, we have Remington Bruce, myself, Mackenzie Campbell, Lauren Holzer, Claire Standish, and then Alex Wyman-Rivas.
First, we are going to talk about the problem with Chapman Radio. Currently, Chapman Radio is not popular among Chapman University students. As a result of conducting a preliminary pen and pencil survey with 52 students, our group was able to grasp the facts that Chapman Radio is currently irrelevant on Chapman's campus. Out of 52 Chapman students, all but 3 were aware of Chapman Radio on Chapman's campus. Only 1 student listened to Chapman Radio on a regular basis, which in our study means more than 15 minutes per week. The other 51 students had listened to Chapman Radio once or more, but only because a friend hosted the show. Once their friend's show ended at the end of the semester, the Chapman students felt as though there was no point to listen. All of the 52 students were chosen at random by asking them if they had 5 minutes to give their current knowledge on Chapman Radio.
We identified our primary problem as the lack of listenership as it related to our study.
The objective of this message campaign is to inform students at Chapman University about the student-run radio station called Chapman Radio in an effort to persuade students to listen to the programming that Chapman Radio has to offer and increase the overall listenership towards the station.
We have measured current attitudes towards Chapman Radio, ease of use, show content, knowledge, subjective norms, as well as behavioral intention in order to see the relationship between the likelihood of listening to Chapman Radio and each of the independent variables. In our measurements, we used a 7-point Likert scale for each variable. In order to collect the data for our 6 independent variables, we created a survey through Google Forms. We received all of our responses from Chapman University students and distributed the survey by sending it to our friends on Facebook and to the students in our SEC seminar course. Our target audience was specifically Chapman students because our study focuses on Chapman Radio. We did not target students of a particular grade level or gender. We received a total of 106 responses.
Using Crumbek's alpha for internal consistency, we found that all of our independent variables were consistent, that is, that the alpha was less than 0.70. The running of a multiple regression analysis on the raw data from our survey through the SPSS platform led to the following results. First, an R-squared value of 0.495, which equals a 49.5% likelihood that the independent variables can be aligned with the dependent variables. Second, the independent variables' ease of use and attitudes showed significance values below that of the threshold, 0.05, indicating significance in how they relate to the dependent variable, while subjective norms and behavioral intention fell within a reasonable range of interpretive significance. In addition, our data revealed that a standard deviation for all of our independent variables was between 1.1 and 1.6, while 1.4 standard deviation for the dependent variable. The mean results for all of our variables was between 2.5 and 3.2, signifying responses that averaged on the lower to middle end of the general sentiments on the Likert scales employed. In addition, the independent variables' ease of use and attitudes, while only being 2 of our 6 independent variables chosen, showed significance and thus are the grounds for our continuous research.